as I'm sure most Star Wars fans are very level-headed. Never get too crazy about things, right? Yeah.
Compared to those Star Trek fans,
Yeah. I mean, riots have broken out over Star Trek. Welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List, where we ask the real question: who will win in a fight? 2 of us versus 100 gorillas. Just kind of flipping that argument right now. Have you heard that? Have you seen that argument that's online right now? People are saying, like, who would win in a fight, 100 guys versus 1 gorilla? And it's like, no, they're made to, like, fight. That's not going to go well.
I would say, yeah, it really depends on the dudes.
I don't think it depends on the dudes at all. I think even the weakest gorilla would be like, no, because I'm a gorilla.
I think if you had 5 gorillas, not even a question, gorillas would win.
Okay.
5 to 100. So I'm kind of at that, like...
Okay, but here's my thing, and we're already talking about this longer than I thought we were going to at this point, but at this point, we might as well go into it. My thing is, it doesn't matter how many dudes you have, only a certain amount of them are going to be able to fight the gorilla at one time.
You might only get...
So
5
it's
survivors.
Really actually no. I'm saying like there's only amount of surface area around said gorilla. Yeah. You can maybe get 4 or 5 guys. Doesn't matter if you have 1,000. Only 5 of them are going to fight at the same time.
That's a good point too.
So that's the argument to me is over.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is a movie podcast, right? Yeah, we're okay. That was just meant to be a fun intro, and then we got a little too into that, a little too much now. But yeah, welcome to another edition here. We are going to talk about movies here, and, well, especially for you Star Wars fans. I know, second week in a row we're talking Star Wars. Not very often we cover a topic 2 weeks in a row here, but just kind of happened like that and everything. But if you're a Star Wars fan, this is going to be a good episode. If you're not a Star Wars fan, stick around. I promise we'll talk about other things in the near future. But I don't know. Well, let's actually just start off by saying welcome to the first weekend of summer movie season. Kind of snuck up on us here, I feel like. It's May. It's already May.
I know.
Summer
season's almost here.
I mean, by the time you watch this, it will be here.
Yeah, it's true.
We record this on a Tuesday, but I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction right here, right now. This is going to be the best summer movie season we have seen, for sure, post-pandemic. But, I mean, if you kind of count some of those years before it, I'd say in a long while.
I would agree with that, and hopefully the financial returns can continue with that as well.
There's a lot of blockbusters to look forward to this year. It's going to be a busy summer, but at the same time, we're looking forward to it.
Let's go.
And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the first blockbusters to kick off the summer here later on in the episode. But first, let's go into the opening spotlight. Like we said, another Star Wars episode here because Star Wars Day is this weekend. So it probably means if you're a avid Star Wars fan, you're going to be sitting down watching some of your favorite content. And if you're maybe just new to the franchise, maybe you need us to point you in a few directions here.
There's a lot of stuff.
There is a lot of, and that's, there's a lot of content, even if you don't include all the non-canon stuff, like the books and everything like that. So the sequel trilogy counts as canon, by the way.
Does it?
Yes,
I thought that was part of the non-canon stuff.
Nope. I was testing your resolve there. And
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to make faces.
I know. And I'll give you a pass. But in the past we've debated Star Wars on this channel. We've debated the best movies and everything like that. But here we're just going to kind of talk about our personal favorites, or kind of what we think is some of the most important for people to watch. Kind of giving a quick top 3 here, and we're going to be expanding it a little bit into TV as well.
Yep.
I don't think we've really ever done that before. So we're doing this as a little bit of a continuation partnership over with the Lyon County Library. They, believe it or not, have a few pieces of Star Wars content over there as well.
Quite a bit.
Both the movies and TV shows.
Yep.
Which is part of the reason why we wanted to open up here as well. So I don't know. Let's just get into it here. Let's talk about our favorite 3 here. Essentially, let's start with the bronze pick. We always kind of put them on an Olympic podium level here to represent it. So. Because I'm constantly changing my answers in my head, I'm going to let you go first so that way I can stall for a little bit longer.
Initially, I initially had the Phantom Menace because he is Darth Maul is one of my favorite characters. But then the more I thought about it, I really liked The animated Clone Wars. It's just called the Clone Wars, isn't it? No.
I mean, it depends. Are you talking about the TV series?
The TV series.
Because it was weird. There was like a one-off movie,
but
and then it spun off into a TV series.
The TV series.
Okay, then
I'm going with.
Then it was the Clone Wars. Yep.
And that always kind of confused me, but I thought they were really well done. They told good stories, and we still kind of had happy, good Anakin.
Yeah. We still had good guy Anakin. Mm-hmm. And it is confusing because technically Attack the Clones comes first, but the clones aren't actually technically attacking.
Yeah.
Or at least attack makes it sound like they're going against the good guys, but they're on the good guys' team.
Yeah.
I have a lot of issues with Attack of the Clones. The title is pretty down on that list, but it's on that list. But yeah, Clone Wars TV series, that is a good one. 7 seasons worth, I believe.
Yeah,
that's one of the longer ones.
Yep.
So,
and I have to admit, I haven't seen the last. I think it's the last season I haven't seen. I've seen all the other ones.
Yeah. So for my bronze, I'm debating between 2. And you know what? I'm not going to necessarily say it's my okay. So every once in a while I do this. I write the criteria. You follow it very well, and then as we record, I change my own criteria and everything like that. I've done that before. So I'm not going to say this is my favorite, but I do think this is an important one to watch. Partially because I think visually speaking, this is this is probably the best one visually speaking.
Okay.
And I do think it introduces some of the most interesting ideas. And I'm going to say Star Wars The Last Jedi. I'm not just bringing up the sequel series just to make you mad or whatever. All right, there are problems with the sequel trilogy.
Right.
I have never not said there isn't, though.
All right.
Especially with Episode 9, there are problems. Not the ones you probably have. A
lot of problems.
But if you look at the Last Jedi alone and not in that whole trilogy, that is a pretty good movie for the most part. I actually kind of like Grumpy Luke because to me it's the galaxy put the pressure on him, to be the hero, and I think not a lot of people wouldn't crumble under that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he brings a lot of interesting ideas. But more specifically, I talked about the visual elements. Rian Johnson does the best at explaining the Force visually. I think Empire Strikes Back was one of the first to really kind of start explaining the Force, and George Lucas did that pretty good with words. This was the best visually speaking with it. Mm-hmm. Not only that, I think it had the best Star Wars lightsaber fight in the throne room, wherein it was Rey and Kylo against the Red Guard and everything. There's the time they shot this ship through the First Order at light speed. It was silent in that theater when that happened. There's a lot of good moments in here. Unfortunately, I think it just gets dragged down because of the 2 movies preceding it and before it and everything. So I still think if you're gonna kind of do what that movie wanted to do, which is kind of let go of the past and start bringing in new ideas, which is what we're seeing in some of these new Star Wars films, I think it's important to kind of watch that one then.
Okay.
I'm not saying the best.
I'll give you that.
I'm not saying the best. I'm not even necessarily saying it's actually in my top 3, but I do think it's essential viewing. That's maybe the better way we should have done this. Essential Star Wars to watch.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't you love it when you come up with your best ideas a day after you're supposed to?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Happens a lot.
Yeah. All right. What's your next pick here? What's sort of your silver medal?
My silver medal, I went with Star. Also, my next 2 will be films. There are some great TV shows, but I am going with Star Wars Rogue One. This kind of spoiler alert, but not really. Everybody dies at the end. I think that is very overlooked in so many movies, and this is one where, hey, your good guys, the people you're rooting for, your antagonists, they all die. Every one of them dies. And it's kind of like, there's no sequel to that one, but there is with totally different people. So I really liked it. I was curious as how they're going to make it work. There are some things I didn't like about it. But I will say also one of their benefits was some of the casting for some of the Rogue One people and some of the bad guys are one was I'm pretty sure he was in the raid. If you've ever heard of that or seen that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them are in the raid that are in this too.
It's a movie, and it's like those guys are awesome, and I was just happy to see them making it into a film like Star Wars.
Yeah, came out about 8 years ago. I think still holds up. And another thing that's been going on 8 years, I still can't pronounce or spell Rogue. Right when I type in Rogue One, I spell it every time. So my next one here is going to be a TV series. And again, I guess kind of reworking my own criteria here to essential viewing or thing that I think most people could watch. I'm going to go with The Mandalorian Season 1. The reason why I'm picking Mandalorian Season 1 specifically is because I think that show did a really good job of being a part of the Star Wars universe, but you didn't really need to have seen any of the Star Wars universe to really get it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, when you see Baby Grogu for the first time, you're like, oh, it's Baby Yoda. But if you're watching it for the first time, it's still
know who Yoda is.
It's still a cute character. You don't really need to know about Yoda to enjoy Grogu.
Yeah.
Necessarily. It isn't until the very, very end when they introduce the Darksaber. That's like the first moment that I was like, oh, you really kind of have to know the expanded universe to know what that means. Yeah. But everything else, I feel like they kind of laid out pretty well and made it so that if you hadn't seen any Star Wars content before this, you could still enjoy it.
Yep.
Now, Season 2 kind of threw that concept away and went deep into the lore. But that's a conversation for another day. But, that's going to be my silver pick.
Very good.
All right. Let's get to the top dog here. Gold medal pick. What's your favorite?
Some people might agree with me. Some people won't. But I have to say Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, I already had it finished typing by the time you said it.
You get to see Darth Vader for chronologically the first time, but now you get to see the whole process and the turning to the dark side. And just like for me, this was such an experience going to the theater at, what year did this come out?
2005.
Yeah, when I was, I guess I was a little older than I thought I was, but just, I remember going with my friends. We had the lightsaber spoons. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. Theater went wild. Everybody went wild. It was awesome. And you have to watch it.
I mean, I have watched it.
He's the biggest bad out of the entire, I would say, the entire Star Wars universe, because you can argue Palpatine or Sidious or all these other people, but the one with the most, I would say, cultural relevance is Darth Vader.
See, I'm glad you said that, because that actually kind of perfectly segues me to my pick and my justification. I'm going to go with Empire Strikes Back, which is not a very hot take, I'll grant you. But I would argue this is the movie that truly made us fall in love with Darth Vader. You want to talk about the villainous of him and everything. In that one, okay, yeah, he kills younglings. That's shocking and everything, but that's like almost too far evil, I feel like, in my book. Here, it showed him as the villain, but sort of it really showed his power because he's taken on Luke, who we've established as a strong Jedi, even though we haven't seen it yet. But he's just toying with him the whole time. Like, he's taking him on. He's playing his cards in Cloud City. He's like, I'm altering the deal. Don't make me alter it again, or whatever. He's got more quotable lines. When you really watch that first Star Wars, Darth Vader's kind of menacing at the beginning, but then he kind of gets taken out like a chump in the trench fight scene, I feel like. It wasn't until Empire that I think we truly started calling him the greatest movie villain of all time, or at least putting him in that conversation. I think Revenge of the Sith kind of rides on the Empire's coattails because we know what he'll be later on, and I think we're kind of associating that with Revenge of the Sith.
I agree a little bit. I agree a little bit with that. But I love this is it. This is him fully becoming Darth Vader. Him transforming into Darth Vader. Well, it's funny because both our movies are dark movies, per se.
That's it. That is actually an interesting point. Yeah, both of ours, arguably the bad guy wins.
Yep.
But I would also argue that Empire is better because that was the first one to do it.
Also, some people would argue that is the best Star Wars movie out of all the Star Wars movies.
Empire?
Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't a very big hot take for me to go with that one on gold. But when sometimes the easiest answer is the one right in front of your face.
Yep.
I think that's a thing I've read somewhere. But yeah, those are some of our favorite pieces of Star Wars content. Let us know which one is your top 3. Does it stack up with one of ours? Did we mention any of your top 3, or do you agree with one of us more than the other? Let us know in the comments, as I'm sure most Star Wars fans are very level-headed. Never get too crazy about things, right?
Yeah. Compared to those Star Trek fans,
yeah. I mean, riots have broken out over Star Trek. That is a fair point. I feel like they don't rage as much with Star Trek.
Oh, I don't know. Have you talked to some of those Star Trek fans?
Do they argue with each other as much, though? I guess I don't talk much Trekkie, so.
From my limited experience.
Do they get a little rowdy?
A little rowdy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Little rowdy.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Hey, we talk a lot about movies on this channel, but sometimes the ones we talk about aren't the most accessible. That's where the Marshall-Lyon County Library comes in handy. They have a great collection of physical media, as well as a couple of online services with many, many options for movies, TV shows, and documentaries. It's easy. Just get your own library card at the Marshall-Lyon County Library and gain access to their large variety of movies, TV shows, and of course, books. Also, be sure to check back every month as we here at Popcorn Bucket List make specific movie recommendations based on a monthly theme. So head on over to the Marshall-Lyon County Library for some of our favorites and check out the channel to get even more movie recommendations. And now, on with the show! But anyways, let's move on here then to the weekly preview. One of those weekends where not a lot, but we got some big ones here, which is good because I got a lot I think I got to say on both of these here. So let's start with first things first. Thursday, May 1st, be out by the time you watch this video here. Another Simple Favor coming to Prime Video this time, not coming straight to theaters like the first one was. But yeah, sequel
this is
to
a sequel?
This is a sequel, yeah.
Oh gosh, okay.
Did you ever see A Simple Favor?
No.
You should. It's it's interesting.
Now that you say that, I do. I think I remember talking about it, but I didn't watch it.
It came out quite a few years ago, I think.
Wait, I might have seen it.
Okay, so it's got Blake Lively,
and
it's got Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
It's, she kind of disappears or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen the first one. Now that you say that,
well, maybe give it a rewatch before you watch this one, I suppose, just to make sure.
Maybe not.
I love the first one. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it had some very interesting twists and turns. I think this was arguably one of Anna Kendrick's best performances, if I'm going to be honest. So when I heard they were making a sequel, I was pretty excited. A little less excited I was going to a streaming service, I guess, again. But, whatever.
I know what that means.
No, it just means means Prime Video paid a little bit more.
We've gone back and forth over that over the years.
But here we got Blake Lively's character coming back again. Does she have something nefarious up her sleeve this time? That's the big mystery here. Seems like she might, but that could just be a false flag, maybe.
You never know.
I will say, I feel like we got to jump into this here. This movie may have came out at the worst possible time for Blake Lively's career. 100%. There's no way you could plan all this stuff out because, you shoot this how long ago, you set this release date, and then the whole controversy with It Ends With Us happened at the end of last year. This date was already set.
A lot of people are upset with you right now.
This movie has nothing to do with all that. I want to point that out. But it's not a great timing that you're portrayed as this villain, and then you come out with a movie where you fully embrace the villain character.
Yeah.
Like, it's just bad timing.
Yeah. And Anna Kendrick's is her normal Anna Kendrick's self in this, where she's the same. And
could you imagine if roles were reversed, where we were viewing Anna Kendrick as like the bully or whatever, and Blake Lively was the hero, and then this movie came out? It'd be kind of confusing too, though.
Yeah. Although, did you see in the trailer they said an original movie?
I think it is.
They made. Well,
I know. It bothers me when they say that during a sequel as well.
Yeah. Or when they try to this is so original, it's never been done before. And it's like I've seen 5 movies like this. Don't promote it so much as if they came out with a new killer movie where a guy wore a football helmet and killed people around a cabin, or a town and said an all original movie. It's like,
because that means one of two things. It means either A, you are just over embellishing it and it's kind of lying, or B, it actually is something we've never seen before, and you're kind of already not spoiling it, but now we as the audience are expecting it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you go to an M. Night Shyamalan movie, you expect a plot twist, so when there isn't one, or when there is one, you're kind of like, I saw that coming because I was thinking the whole time.
Yep.
But,
and then it's like, well, now you're just telling me that if I don't like it, it's because it was an original. It's something so new and unique and creative. And
yeah, you just
like,
weren't.
no, your movie
you just weren't intellectual enough to understand Another Simple Favor, Ryan.
Yeah.
It's your problem, not the movies.
Yeah,
I'll agree with you. I don't necessarily like the over embellishing of that, but I do think it does look a lot of the same that made. I don't know if any of that made sense. My brain just kind of shut down there for a second. It looked a lot of the same that made me like the first one. I'm saying the sentence, but I don't know if I'm putting the words in the right order here.
Close.
It looks and sounds and feels a lot like the first one, and I really like the first one. So I'm looking forward to this one.
All right.
I guess is ultimately what I'm saying. But I don't know. Like I said, just couldn't have come at a worse time.
Yeah.
Could not have come at a worse time. Anyways, let's talk about the big ticket item here. However, Friday, May 2nd, Thunderbolts. Oh, I forgot to add the asterisks to the
Thunderbolts.
When I write, is that trademark? Do I have to put that in there?
I think
do I have
you
to? Okay, I'll put it in there. Yeah, make it official, I guess.
Yep.
And there it is. This one's coming straight to theaters here, rated PG-13, the latest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think we're gonna finally get some answers to questions I've been asking for a long time.
What's that?
What are the Avengers right now? Where are they? Are they doing anything? I know for sure we're gonna get one answer to the question, which is who bought Avengers Tower at the end of the first Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
We're finally getting that answer at least. So I'm curious to see what their whole goal with that is and everything. I want to know what the state of the MCU is. It just feels like still post-Endgame, we're still not really sure where the world is and what's all going on.
Yep.
What are the major threats?
You got to watch a lot of miniseries to figure that one out.
But even then, I still feel like I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
And I have watched pretty much all the miniseries.
I've missed a lot of the the series, and I feel like I don't even know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. That's not a great sign.
I just know Captain America is Sam, and I like that.
Yeah.
So, and his buddy, didn't even remember his buddy until about halfway through the movie. It was like, oh, yeah, you were in that one thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I remember you now.
Yeah, it does feel like MCU's got a lot more. The closer and closer we're getting to Doomsday, the less and less projects I see in the future that I feel like is going to set it up properly.
Yeah.
With Infinity War, we had arguably, I guess you could say officially the start was Thor when they kind of first introduced space.
Yep.
And then kind of Captain America was the first time we saw an Infinity Stone. So we had about 4 years, give or take 20 movies. I'm rough estimating that, by the way.
Yep.
For just Infinity War. I do not know how Thunderbolts is going to set up Doomsday.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is it. I don't know how you're going to set up everything that's going on there just in that one movie.
And maybe Doomsday is just going to be a little tiny bit of Fantastic Four. Maybe it's still part of the build-up. But also, isn't Doomsday coming out in like 2 or 3 years?
Next year.
Yeah, next year.
2026. That's what I'm saying.
See, and I think they should go back to stop with the mini-series, and go to just movies. That's kind of
but see, then I think people are going to complain that there's just too many. I think there's just too much stuff for the casual fan to watch, regardless, no matter what platform you put it on.
I'd rather do 2 movies, a movie or 2 a year.
Yeah,
stick with that. Go.
Yeah, sure. It would take a little bit longer to get to sort of these Avenger type things, but
yeah.
But
the Avengers, they did it all up to the Avengers, pretty much up to Endgame. They were all basically movies, weren't they? I mean, how many TV shows were in there? Because pretty much everything was after Endgame.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much all movies.
Like, just go back to that.
I mean, we're not counting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess, but that didn't really set anything up anyway.
Yeah,
so
no.
Technically,
did anybody watch that show?
People have. I stopped watching about halfway through season 3, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So it's like,
But I watched that show longer than I watched Gotham, so it beat out a Batman show. That's all.
I watched like 3 episodes. I was like,
I don't know if that's a point for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or a negative point for Gotham, but either way. Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about this movie here. Basically, when people have asked me about this one, it's basically Marvel's Suicide Squad. These are villains, anti-heroes, people who kind of skirt the good-bad line that are coming together to stop a major threat. Now, here's what worries me, is we're dealing with an Avengers-level threat here. And that's part of the marketing, the part of the trailers of this movie. The Avengers aren't here. They're not going to save us.
They're gone.
We need our own team. The problem with the Suicide Squad movies and video games and any other animated movies that I've seen, the problem is that they take on huge threats. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see them in these smaller roles where they are 100% not the heroes, so they can fully throw their morals away.
Yeah.
And that was what's so good about the first part of James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie, was they were in sort of a war zone. They were going against mercenaries and all that, so they could do like nasty stuff and we were fine with it.
Yeah.
Then it ended with them trying to be heroes, and that is where the movie lost me. Yeah. Same thing here. I don't want these guys to be heroes. Maybe Yelena, Black Widow's sister or whatever. Maybe her.
She's a bad guy.
I'm saying she's like an anti-hero. I'm saying if I had to choose any of them, she's the only one.
And isn't Ghost in this?
Ghost is in this too, and I'm looking forward to Ghost.
Where has she been?
We'll have to find out.
Quantumanium things?
Yeah. She was hanging out in the quantum realm the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she'll be in this. I am most looking forward to see her in this as well, just because I said this before, I think she was a very underrated character in that Ant-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we spent enough time with her because, again, she was the villain, quote unquote, but it was pretty justifiable motives.
Yeah.
She didn't get her powers because she wanted them or because something went wrong. She got experimented on out of her own will, and she's just trying to survive.
Yeah.
That to me is a pretty compelling villain.
I'm most excited for, I think Florence Pugh actually jumped off like the second tallest building.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that.
I've been avoiding that behind the scenes thing because I want to watch it.
I just read that she broke a world record or something for it. So I read that and then I was like, cool. Well, I don't need to see anything else until after I see the movie.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make a prediction here, because I feel like we've been saying this a lot about a lot of these team-up movies. We're going to leave this and go, I wish it was just a Florence Pugh Yelena movie, not a team-up movie. Yeah. Because I feel like she's going to be the best
Florence
character.
Pugh movie.
That's what I'm saying is, we'll watch. Yeah, I'm fine with any Florence Pugh movie. Yeah, I'm good with that too, I guess. But I don't know. What are our other thoughts on this one here?
I hope it's good. I hope I walk out of the theater and wow, I actually really like that a lot. It clears up my mind of all the muddiness of the last 2 years, 3 years.
Yep. I feel like we should do this with every Marvel movie now. A little game we like to call Guess the Cameo.
Yep.
Do we think there's going to be a big cameo? And if so, who do we think? For the record, I have not really thought about this. So
I haven't either. First thing that pops in my head is Doom, but I don't think it'll be Doom.
I don't think it'll be Doom.
I mean,
it's too early. I don't think they've got anything filmed of him.
Is it going to be Fantastic Four?
See, maybe as an end credit scene.
Okay.
I could see that as an end credit scene, setting up the next movie.
Maybe it'll be Miles Teller.
It's not going to be Miles Teller.
How funny would that be?
It would be the 2005 guy. Will you stop? I'm going to take this away from you because you've been playing with it too much. It's distracting you.
Yeah, it is.
You got some energy today, man. All right. If I would guess a cameo, I'm trying to think of all the characters.
John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic.
Nah, they already did that in Doctor Strange. That's not going to happen.
Maybe it'll be what's his name? Another Sam Raimi guy.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
Nope.
Doc Ock?
Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah, I know the guy you're talking about. I don't think it's
Bruce Campbell.
I don't think it's gonna be him.
Maybe it'll be Bruce Campbell still punching himself. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but in that end credit scene, it showed him stop punching himself.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, I got 2 hands.
But that was in another universe.
It was so funny though.
But it was in another universe. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. I sit back and I think about that Doctor Strange because I've seen it on TV a couple times. It's moving way up there. I really liked it.
That's good.
And I liked it for like the Sam Raimi, the horror elements too.
Yeah, I guess I feel like the reason why I bring up this cameo thing is because I feel like we focused on that on other movies and it didn't happen. I feel like we're not focusing in on this movie, and this is the one that's gonna happen. So
maybe it'll be the big guy from Daredevil. Vince
Kingpin.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah. I'd love that.
Because it's Suicide Squad-ish, the bad guys.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That's what I was trying to think is, like, would there be, like, a Spider-Man cameo in this somewhere?
That'd be cool.
It's New York, so it could be.
It's New York.
So I could see him swinging around maybe.
I'm walking here.
I'm swinging here.
I'm swinging here.
That's what Spider-Man says. All right. So, yeah, that'll be a big one here. Definitely looking forward to that overall, though. But, yeah, kick off to summer movie season with the Thunderbolts.
Yep. Should be good.
We're pretty familiar with Marvel kicking off a summer movie season, but that's what's coming up here in the near future. Let's talk about some things we've seen in the past. Time for some number one recommends. I believe it's your turn to go first.
So I'm going old school. No, actually pretty much brand new. Kids TV show. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, I think it's called. My daughter has been obsessed with Spider-Man over the past 2 weeks, so we've watched a lot of the Spider-Man kids show, and it's great. Doc Ock's in there. Miles is in there. Gwen's in there, Spider-Gwen. Bunch of other people. Iron Man's in there.
Why'd you cut to me as I was wiping my mouth? What the heck, dude?
Because it's awesome. That's what we like.
I had blue on my lip. All right, my number one recommend here this week, I'm going to go The Accountant 2. I think we said this in our short review. There are certain things I think this movie did better than the first one. I think there are some things the first one did better than the second one. I think it really kind of comes down to what kind of action movie you want. If you want it to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more dark and sort of methodical, the first one's going to be the way you want to go. If you want a little bit more humor in it, a little bit more fun, a little bit more character development, I think the second one is the one you want to go.
Yep.
Both, I think, are solid movies, though, in general. And enough so that I want to see a third one. I love how this movie didn't directly set up a sequel, but it did what the best movies do and made us like the characters. That's what makes us want to go see another story with them. It's not, we have to derail the movie to go into the secret room and find all this sequel bait. No, you spend time with the brothers, John Bernthal and Ben Affleck, who did not spend really any time in the first movie, by the way. But in this one, they just go right into it, and they are great together. I would not have necessarily thought they would have had that much good chemistry, really, but I thought they were very good.
I agree 100%. It's good. Go check it out.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. In case you haven't noticed, it's kind of a big moment right now for the NFL with the draft going on and all that. So if you want to make sure that you get a little bit more up-to-date information and whatnot, make sure you check out our friends over at Minnesota Sports Live every Wednesday live at 7 o'clock. That way you can get the latest updates, like I said, and genuine reactions from a couple of Minnesota sports fans. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Mustang Blueprint podcast. We've had a couple of pretty big interviews recently. Pretty fun ones. So make sure you subscribe.
Still waiting for my invite for that.
I'm sure it's in the mail somewhere.
All right.
Yeah. It's definitely on the way.
I'll have to check when I get home. Check the mailbox.
Yeah, keep checking. Check all the post offices in Marshall. In fact, all of Lyon County. You're going to have to drive to all of them. So I'm sure it's in one of them. But,
it's got to be there.
You keep looking for that, buddy. Yeah. It's definitely there. So like I said, we got a couple of those interviews and a couple of other big ones coming up here in May as well. So make sure you check those out right now. For myself, Ryan, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.